Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be taking a look at the Rogue Berserker released in the third DLC of Fate Samurai Remnant. If you would like to remain unspoiled onto who this is, then turn back now. But drop a sub to remind you to come back later. The identity of this newest Rogue Berserker is Kishi Mojin. For some of you, that name may hold some weight, as Kishi Mojin is a deity found in Buddhism, known for her dual nature as both a protector of children, but also a mother of demons. They are a full-blown divinity and one that is a bit complicated to get into, but we will be doing our best to explain her here. Let's start with what exactly Kishi Mojin is. Kishi Mojin's name in Japanese is made up of the characters for demon, child, mother, and god. Quite literally, she is a mother goddess of demonic children. She also goes by the Sanskrit name of Hariti. She is widely worshipped all over Asia and is considered one of the 24 protector deities of Mahayana Buddhism. Now, immediately you may be wondering something. Why is the Mother of Demons so venerated to the point of being called a protector deity? Well, before talking about all that she governs over, let's talk about how she came to be in the first place. One day long ago, an infant Yaksha was in the streets of a great city wailing and crying. His parents were nowhere to be seen, and his mighty voice and screams were too loud and distracting for people in the city. A Yaksha, by the way, is a type of nature spirit that can resemble a demon. This particular one looked terrifying, making any who may have wanted to either help or harm the wailing child turn away from it. So it continued to scream. Some people instead turned to prayer, asking the great Mother Dharma to help to ease the child. Mother Dharma looked upon the infant with great compassion, and from this compassion an emissary was born and sent to comfort the child. This was Hariti, aka Kishi Mojin. For the sake of consistency with the game as well as the video, I will be using the Japanese name Kishi Mojin, even though this is not a Japanese story per se. Kishi Mojin took the frightful child in her arms and breastfed it until it was satisfied. Then Kishi Mojin took the child away to find its parents in the land of the Yaksha. With the child returned, the king of the Yaksha approached her, explaining how he was impressed with her deeds. He offered her a place by his side in marriage, making her the queen of the Yaksha, to which she agreed upon the condition that Mother Dharma allowed it, which she did. This puts Kishi Mojin as the queen of the demons despite her infinite compassion. This is where we need to make a differentiation. The word demon in Western thought generally comes with the image of wickedness and deception, as demons in the West are the fallen angels that serve Lucifer in the Bible. When adventurers and scholars ventured to the East to learn about the people there and establish a connection with them, they were told these stories of Yaksha and Oni and would oftentimes see their appearance and hear that they were spirits of nature and associate them with the demons from the Bible. As such, there are several translations that aren't fully accurate. Take Yaksha for instance. Yaksha are very similar to the jinn in Islamic tradition in that they are beings that exist alongside humanity that can be both beneficial or malevolent depending on the individual. This is in the direct opposition to the fully evil intentions of a Western demon. As such, being the queen of the Yaksha doesn't necessarily mean that she is royalty to legions of demons. That said, she certainly serves as a demon in some stories. The most relevant story relating to her appearance in Samurai Remnant is the tale of how she learned about motherhood. There are two versions of this tale, so I will touch on both. In one tradition, despite being a deity who is associated with child rearing and often being depicted with children, Kishi Mojin does not have children of her own. As such, she wished to experience motherhood and so went about abducting dozens and dozens of children from their mothers in order to raise them as her own. This act was not done out of malice, mind you, but to fulfill her desires to be a mother. Soon the prayers and laments of grieving mothers met the ears of the Buddha, who then sought out Kishi Mojin. When he found her, she was doing a great job of raising all of the children she had abducted and was treating them well. So the Buddha took one away without her noticing. Given her excellent motherly instincts, she realized that she was missing one of her children. She scoured everywhere that the child may be, panicking at the thought of losing just one of them. Despite her best efforts, she could not find the lost child. Suddenly, the Buddha appeared before her with the child and asked her how she felt at the loss of just one of her children. She said that it was a terrible feeling. Then the Buddha asked her how she believed the real mothers of these children must feel, that their children, in some cases their only child, had been taken away. Kishi Mojin told the Buddha that their pain must be far greater than hers. At this, she took a vow to the Buddha and returned all of the children to their proper families, and she declared that she was no longer a mother without children, but would be practicing the teachings of the Buddha in order to become the mother of all living things. For this, she is regarded as a divine goddess of motherhood and child rearing. The Japanese version is much darker. She does still kidnap children, this time with the assistance of 10 demon sisters, occasionally said to be Kishi Mojin's own, but the reason why is to feed her hundreds of children with the flesh of other children. Bit of a jump there, but we are going to roll with it. The story plays out exactly the same, save for the returning of the children a bit because, well, you know. It also is stated that when she is looking for her own son, she traversed not just the local area where it may be, but scoured the entirety of the universe in search of him. She literally tore through the fabric of reality in order to find her son. The other change in this version, or at least some variation of it, is that after being enlightened by the Buddha, the only food that she would consume was pomegranates. After this, she and all of her children began to practice Buddhism, and she was elevated to godhood. In fact, in Japanese tradition, she is considered to be an aspect of Kannon, a bodhisattva associated with mercy and one of the most worshipped deities in Japan. So that brings us to a bit of a conundrum. It should not be possible to summon a being like Kishimojin under normal circumstances. She is about as close to a true god as there is in Samurai Remnant's Holy Grail War, surpassing even the likes of Ibuki, who would classify as a regional deity. Kishimojin is a real deal goddess. So then, how do they manage to bring her into the fold? Well, the answer is simple, but also terrifying. So a side project that I've had shelved for a while now is to cover the various yokai of Japan. If I had to pick a certain part of history that interests me the most, it would be folklore and myths, and Japan in particular is rich in them. Shout out to the 2 30-page scripts I have yet to record and edit. All of that research led me to recognize immediately the yokai that she was fused with to alloy her spirit origin to a summonable level. The Ubume. If you know anything about yokai, it is that they are weird, hyper-specific, and usually tragic. The Ubume is no different. When a woman died in childbirth, if her resentment at the time of death was strong enough, it was possible for her spirit to return as an Ubume. These spirits appeared much as they did in life, save for the occasions when they sometimes appeared as birds. The other big difference is that the lower half of their bodies was usually stained with blood. There are 2 reasons for this. First, childbirth kind of just be like that. Second is that it was believed during the feudal era that women who died in childbirth went to a hell of blood ponds, as they failed to produce an heir as was expected of them. So when they returned to the realm of the living, their clothes are deeply stained with crimson. If you wanted to avoid a woman becoming an Ubume, you would need to cut the child out of her and place it in her arms, and if that was impossible, a doll would suffice. So then what do they want? Clearly they were not at rest because of how they died, but how does one go about alleviating that? Well, put simply, you don't. Unwary travelers may meet Ubume at night and not be any the wiser, perhaps not noticing her blood-stained clothes due to the poor light. The Ubume would be carrying her child with her and approach the traveler, begging them to hold her child for just a moment. The traveler, concerned for both the woman and the child, would usually take the swaddled toddler. What happens next depends very much on what region you are asking. In some regions of Japan, the mother will then have a peaceful face and vanish, and when the traveler looks to the infant, it has become a demon that rips out their throat. In others, the mother vanishes and the baby has become a large stone or Jizo statue, or in some cases a bundle of leaves and twigs, leaving the traveler bewildered and terrified. In some other traditions, if you are wary and notice the ruse, you can attempt to escape by throwing a cloth or string to distract the Ubume, but if you are still caught and handed the baby, if you turn the toddler's head to the other way, you can avoid being bitten. The connection between these 2 beings is fairly clear. Both are mothers who care deeply for their children. This skewing of a goddess into the likes of a yokai is absolutely going to have massive ramifications on her personality, likely reverting her back to her original state of wishing to be a mother and kidnapping children. It is for this reason that she is very likely a berserker. But what do you think? Kishimojin in the books. As of recording this, I am yet to play the new DLC, but loved her design so much I just had to talk about her. Let me know how close I got to how she is represented. Thank you all so much for watching, do all the YouTube things, check the links below for my Discord, Twitch, and Twitter, but for now guys, keep your chin up, peace.